Hello everyone. A while ago, I made a video about installing the Controllable Party mod for Persona 3 FES with PCSX2, and many had success installing the mod while others reported it doesn't work. I'm making this follow-up video because the method I used in the last video is no longer the best solution. As of March 15th, 2022, a new Persona 3 FES ISO has been made, which has the Controllable Party mod built in, meaning no more cheat file to get the Controllable Party mod working. There are three versions based on the NTSC-U version of the game. The original game with the Controllable Party mod, the undubbed version with Controllable Party mod, which has Japanese audio and English subtitles, along with the Controllable Party mod, and finally the undubbed Controllable Party mod version, which has remixed background music. All three of these ISOs can be found at CD Romance, which I have a link to in the video description. Since the Controllable Party mod is built into this ISO, we don't have to mess with any PNATch cheat files to get it working. For this video, I will be using the ISO of the original game with the Controllable Party mod built in. Follow the link in the description to CD Romance. Here we have the Persona 3 FES Controllable Characters Hacked ISO and all the information for it. As you can see, it's the USA version of the game. It has the English and undubbed language versions, and it's based off the game ID SLUS21621. Here for features, it lists that the regen skills and items do work, which didn't work in the original Controllable Party mod. This means skills like Regenerate, Invigorate, and Spring of Life will restore HP and SP each turn, and items like the Space Badge, Land Badge, Earth Badge, Wizard's Mark, Sorcerer's Mark, and Mage's Mark will restore HP and SP on each turn as well. Scroll to the bottom of the page and select the ISO you wish to download. Again, I will be downloading the original game with the Controllable Party mod. However, the undub original background music and undub remix background music versions are available. Once the download is done, extract the zip file to get the game ISO. Next, open PCSX2, click CDVD, ISO selector, and browse. And you want to locate the Persona 3 FES Controllable Characters ISO. Then click it, and click Open. Next, we'll want to configure the graphics settings. Click Config, Video, and Plugin Settings. For your renderer, you want to use a hardware renderer. I have an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Super, so I will use Direct3D 11 hardware. If you have an AMD GPU, you can use OpenGL hardware. And if you don't have a dedicated graphics card, you can switch between them to see which one works best. You'll want to set interlacing to none. And for the hardware renderer settings, you want to keep most of these default. I recommend bumping up anisotropic filtering to 16x and bumping up the internal resolution to as high as you can get without the frames dropping below 60. For me, 8 times native is fine. For you, 8 times native will probably be fine because this game is so old. You'll also want to click Enable Hardware Hacks and click Shader Configuration. Under the TV shader option, you want to set that to none. The TV shader adds a CRT look to the screen and makes everything dark. I recommend you disable it unless you want that CRT vibe without using a CRT. Click OK and OK to return to the main PCSX2 window. Now at this point, you can play the game. However, everything will be stretched from 4:3 to 16:9 with stretch text, sprites, etc., unless you also set up the widescreen patch. If you don't care, feel free to stop the video now. However, I'd recommend you set up the widescreen patch as it also fixes some of the UI and looks much better. The widescreen patch took me some troubleshooting to figure out. Since the Controllable Party mod game ISO is a different CRC than the regular NTSC-U game, but is based off the NTSC-U game with a different CRC, I figured any PNATch cheat file for the 94A82AAA game would be compatible, and I was correct. All we have to do is get a 94A82AAA widescreen patch file and rename it to the CRC of the Controllable Party Mod ISO, which is 1EA75934, and place that PNATch into the PCSX2 cheats folder, then enable cheats in PCSX2. To download the widescreen patch, follow the link in the description to the PCSX2 Widescreen Patch forum, and scroll to the bottom of the page, and download the ps2 widescreen.rar file. Once the download is complete, open the RAR file, open the ps2 widescreen folder, open the ntsc-u folder, find Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 FES folder, and find the 94A82AAA.pnatch file. Right-click the pnatch file and click Copy To. The default location is fine, as long as you know where it is. Click OK, and close the folder. Go back to File Explorer and find where the pnatch file is. In my case, it's Downloads, right here. Right-click the 94A892AAA pnatch file and click Rename. And here we'll be renaming it to the pnatch of our Controllable Party Mod ISO, which in this case is 1EA75934. Now we need to move this pnatch file to our PCSX2 cheats folder. The default location for a cheats folder is C-users, your username, documents, PCSX2 cheats. So I'll click Cut, Documents, PCSX2 cheats, and then right click and paste. After we've moved the pnatch file, go back to PCSX2, click System, enable cheats, click System again, and enable widescreen patches. Now we want to boot the ISO. Always use the boot ISO fast option, as boot full can sometimes not enable cheats. Now the game will load. And I will load a previous save just to show the Controllable Party Mod working. You can tell that the widescreen patch is already loaded because the text isn't stretched and the sprites aren't stretched. As you can see, my character doesn't look shorter and wider. I'm going to move to another floor of Tartarus just so I can get into combat and show the Controllable Party mod is working.
There are 2 enemies.
So now I'm in combat, and as you can see, I have all the normal options. I have attack, I can use skills, I can use items, I can change tactics, I can change my persona. I can escape, or I can wait. So I will attack. Okay. Now I'll wait. Just as you can see, when I wait, I'm brought to the next party member, which in this case is Yukari. And Yukari has the same options the main character does. I can attack, I can use my skills, I can use items, I can use tactics, which doesn't really matter because I can control the party. I can get Persona, but you can't change, so it doesn't do anything. I can escape or wait. So if I attack, I'm brought to the next party member. And here, again, I have all the same options. I can use fusion spells, however, I wouldn't recommend it unless, especially if you're going to use the skill Cadenza, which will crash the game. So just be wary of that. If you're going to use fusion spells, you really want to use it on the main character's turn. But, you know, from here I can control the party how I please. Makes combat a lot easier and a lot less frustrating because the AI can be weird and you don't unlock tactics till later in the game that make it easier. So I don't have any HP or SP turn-based restoring items, so I can't test that that feature actually works, but it did say in the notes that it does. That's pretty much it. I hope this guide was easier to follow than the last one. I wrote a script, so it should be more structured and easier to follow. And there are more steps that I've shown, so hopefully this works for everybody who sees it. That's pretty much it. Enjoy the game.